Good times. Some of the quotes coming out of there are hilarious. NFL cut downs, saw some big names. It really is amazing, Tom. We won't necessarily lead with NFL cuts, but if you think about O.J. Howard, where that's ended up, that guy will have played with Tom Brady, albeit a cup of tea, and Josh Allen, and now it looks like Mahomes. You can't play football for them. You can't play. And that's the, 3 best quarterbacks in the league.
Yeah, that's.
Come on, baby. We got to do something.
What would you say
you do here? Yeah, man. That's a toughie. It's a buck. Let's start with that. Let's get on board, everybody. Make it happen. Warchant.com on $1 for 1 year. Calling all FSU fans for a limited time only. A lot of people are already on their way to New Orleans. I had some folks reach out to me already today. They're like, on our way. I was like, geez, good on you. You folks are the ones that aren't having it. You've been ready for this trip for a long time, and then you wait no longer. Getting to New Orleans, if you get there today, if you get to New Orleans on a Wednesday for a game that's on a Sunday, I hope you'll see the game. I hope you're able to take in the game. That's a lot.
Somebody I know that's already there or heading today?
You've met him. You know him, but you don't, you're not like boys, but you know.
Right.
Yeah.
That is aggressive. Good for you.
Oh, yeah, listen, if you can do it. I think this version of me can do it. If we were to leave today, I'd be all right. The 20-whatever-year-old version of me would not. That is not a good deal, getting to New Orleans on a Wednesday for a Sunday game. There's a chance you got an APB out on me on that Saturday morning. Like, what has happened to Cameron? We haven't seen him in 24 hours. But this one, married, 2 kids, settled down, a lot calmer. Yeah, I'd be all right. It's just, it's a lot.
Calmer than you are.
Yeah, it's a lot, man. It's a lot. Old Cod Willie already wants to know the score at halftime. Goodness, old Cod. I don't know.
This is very demanding out of you, Cod Willie.
You know what I want to know? I want to know, will the skeptics of August become the Hawks of September, if you will? I mean, do we move from thinking, I don't know. Better, yeah, to look at these sons of bitches. They're good. Just say it out loud. That would be the skeptic of August going to the Hawk of September. And I'd love it. I'd like that a lot. It would change the way that you viewed the remaining games, frankly, not just the overall record, but you'd get your hopes up for some of these other games that may be on the ledger in your mind you've already got as a loss. It would infuse hope for all the remaining games, frankly.
Well, I think that was a question yesterday from a headliner, right? Does a win on Sunday bring 9-3 squarely into view for you? And does a loss on Sunday bring 6-6 squarely into view?
Yeah, no and no. 9-3 is still very aggressive, even with a win here. Now, if you want to start talking 9-3, win this game and the Louisville game. Okay, now I'm entertaining 9-3. Yes, I am. At that point, I have turned the corner with you, and I would say yes. But it's a big game on so many levels. It's not the be-all, end-all that a lot of fans have kind of intimated in their questions or on Twitter. And look, Mike needs a signature win, if you will, although the win last year at home in dramatic fashion over Miami certainly provided some goodwill. Temporary as it was, because then later you lost to Florida. But I think those that are on the fence would be like, okay, all right, I can get down with this group. Here we go. I'm seeing tangible signs of growth. But remember, football seasons are long. A lot of things happen over the course of 2 and 3 games, let alone 11 or 12. That alter the way you feel about a given weekend. It really does change. It really does shift quickly. We all know that. I mean, when you watch football, if a guy's, if a team's best player goes down, you go from thinking I'm bullish on team A to I wonder if they can make the playoffs. That's just how it happens. And the game is so violent and so physical and so demanding that it's hard to project weeks and weeks and weeks in advance. I don't like to do it unless you have Alabama's depth, unless you have Ohio State's depth, where you've stockpiled 5-star players in front of 5-star players. We were that team. We were that program for a very long time. It was something to behold. You could lose a potential first-round draft pick, Tom, on either side of the ball, both sides of the ball in a given year in the first 4 games. And Florida State fans, we wouldn't blink. We wouldn't blink because the guy behind him was just an inexperienced version of the dude that went down. But that's not where we're at, and we know that. And so injuries will matter greatly, and I'm holding my breath on that front because I think the starters are pretty good. I think there's a little bit more margin for error than we've had in a long time, and that's exciting, and that's why we've documented it and talked about it and been very specific about it. But it's not the elite level of depth that you have when you talk about a team who has a chance to win a national title or get to the college football playoff. We're not at that kind of depth. So, right off the bat, any little thing that kind of sets the course a different direction because of injury, you get worried. But right now, the thought is just, how bullish are you going to be after this game? How doubtful are you going to be after this game? I think the only thing that would seriously skew what we thought, we did W's and L's right before the season started. I went with 8-4. I think you went 9-3. And that was admittedly rosy projection, I think. We were assuming a lot of things went really, really well.
12 games of Jordan Travis was in my projection.
Yeah.
Sure, yeah.
So the point would be, the only thing that would skew that in my mind would be if Florida State gets blown the hell out. If they don't look athletically capable in this game, then yeah, man, you probably gotta dial it back some. And I don't. It wouldn't be a good look for Mike Norvell and staff. Would not be a good look to go out there and get blown away by this LSU team, which has more talent than Florida State. So it's no shame to lose the game. But if they get blown out, Brian Kelly's first game at LSU, come on, man. That is it's just another thing that you're going to have to overcome in terms of perception, both amongst the fan base and also, of course, in recruiting.
Well, one thing that's interesting to me is we talk about how both offensive lines face a tall task on Sunday against the opposite defensive front. Like, LSU might be breaking in a brand new center. Somebody's never played in a game. And so you're going to go against Robert Cooper and Fabian Lovett. That's advantage Florida State. If they're starting a freshman left tackle, it doesn't matter that Jared Verse is an Albany transfer. Maybe you throw Dennis Briggs over there sometimes, or Derek McClendon. You throw different players at that particular inexperienced body and advantage Florida State defensive line. The other part of it, though, is what's happening behind the offensive line. I think Florida State's stable of running backs, given that LSU is missing one of theirs, is stronger. But the quarterback, something talked about today on the Warchant report that'll be released later this week on Warchant TV, Florida State, I think no matter if it's Daniels or Nussmeier, Florida State has the better quarterback in this game, which it took me a while to come to that conclusion this week, but I think that's true. That Florida State has the better quarterback, which is interesting. Not a place we're accustomed to being. But I think for this week's specific matchup, that's not nothing. That matters significantly, especially when you're talking about both offensive lines likely struggling against the opposite defensive front.
Yeah, that is true. I'm not in love with the Jaden Daniels I saw play at Arizona State at all. I thought he was average at best. And, he has certainly the ability to get out of trouble. He can move. So can Jordan Travis, obviously. Jordan Travis can really move. But neither are elite throwers. I do think Jordan's taking a step up in that category. So let's just see how big a step up. Yeah, it's going to be critical that if you get an opportunity to get Jaden Daniels, on the ground, that you do so, because any extra time bought for those receivers is a huge problem for Florida State's defensive backs. Frankly, I'd say that for any set of defensive backs facing this group of LSU receivers. So it's not even specific to what FSU is rolling out there in the defensive backfield. It's specific to everybody LSU will play. They have very good receivers, including an elite receiver. And if you give those kinds of guys times, you get beat for big plays. There's just that's what it means to have a good receiving core. We know that. I mean, we've seen it here historically. It hadn't happened in a while, but we've seen it.
Sure, but would it surprise you if in the course of this game they go to commercial break and the analysts are saying, man, it's another missed throw. They had an opportunity there, and Daniels just couldn't hit it. Well, here comes Nussmeier. Here comes Nussmeier. All right, they're going to give him a crack at it because it feels as though something like that is coming. It's disjointed. It's a week one. We're giving the quarterback credit because of Brian Kelly, I think, for LSU. We're thinking more about the scheme and the receivers, but it's almost as though we're not talking about specifically the quarterback. Maybe it's because he didn't declare which individual it was going to be definitively, Brian Kelly. But either option is not great. And usually we talk about the quarterbacks a ton.
Well, I think I've been burned on this front, though. I know
Jack
it was,
Cohn?
Jack Cohn looked like Jesus at quarterback last year against Florida State and really kind of butt sorry against everybody else. So it was kind of, all right, well, there's the Jack Cohn I thought we'd see and dropping dimes.
Well, yeah, it's not like he was huge in the numbers department because there were coverage busts outside of the one to the tight end to begin the game on fourth down. Some of the throws he were making were into buckets that he just was not hitting at any other point.
That back corner throw in the end zone for the time, it was a ridiculous throw. I'm like, okay, really, Jack Cohn? Your butt year round, but tonight it's going to be great. I mean, it's it's frustrating. So
if he was Jack Cohn that night, we win the football game.
Probably.
That was unlucky, but it's an outlier.
There have been a lot of guys had themselves some nights against Florida State. I need to
Not
see.
Sam Howell.
I need to see it. No, well, Sam Howell couldn't beat us. Florida State, for that matter, the head coach there at North Carolina can't beat us ever. It's just the frustration mounts for that guy. But we're not facing either in this game. And we are facing Brian Kelly, who has beaten us each of the last 2 times he's played us. And here we go again. So we'll see. I'm not saying that they've won solely because of that. They've had better players, better teams, better continuity, all of that. There are areas that you're right, Florida State can exploit in this game, and I sure hope we get off to a good start. There's a path to this thing becoming very interesting pretty quickly, meaning if LSU is slow to start because it's the first game, because they didn't get a tune-up game, because there are communication issues and guys aren't on the same page, and you go from scrimmages and practices to a game, especially a game not against a Duquesne, but rather one with, Division I athletes that can run. Your timing can be off. It can be a little quick for you. And if that turns into a mistake or two and Florida State gets out to a lead, we talked about before the season began, because I thought the defense would hit the ground running and be a better version of anything we saw last year, those last 8 games being more of an indicator of what we'd see to start this year. You get out to a lead and dictate terms there. Yes, that could be fascinating. Florida State could really put a lot of pressure on LSU very quickly. There is that scenario. Now, we're battered and bruised, and we've been covered up. We're just hands up. It's hard for us when you even begin to say aloud the scenarios that could really favor Florida State in this game, because things have gone so poorly. You won't allow yourself to think about prosperous times until you're draped in them, until it's all around you. It's hard to accept because to do so sets you up for real heartbreak. And nobody wants to do that. So I'm admitting there's a little of that in me this week, that every time I think of the game and when my mind races, it doesn't race towards the positive. It doesn't race towards the avenue of Florida State's up by 21 in the second half. Instead, it points to all the things that I know are weaknesses with this team, that if they get, and that's a big I and a big F, if they get exploited to the max in the first half of this game, the potential for here we go again hits you really hard in your brain when you're doing the game, you're playing the game out, and you're going through the different scenarios. And it's the beaten and battered football fan in us. It really is. And how could we not be? I mean, it'd be nice to have a winning season to fall back on around these parts lately, but we don't have one.
No, not even close, really. Last year, Jacksonville State, that means it's not even close. The key for me in this matchup, though, for Jordan Travis and the offensive line is it's Mason Smith against the interior. And I feel good, even though we have no idea with center. It's Maurice, it's Darius, Dylan played last. Who knows? I'd set the over-under on 2.5 different dudes snapping the ball on Saturday just based on last week alone. But one thing Brian Kelly talked about this week in his press conference, and I think they're going to do this defensively, what's the key against Jordan Travis? He said, keep him in the pocket. So if they're going with that plan of contain, that actually takes a little bit away from the pass rush on the edges because they're trying to keep Jordan in the pocket throwing the football. All right, well, now it becomes a matchup of the interior. Can you hold up against a Mason Smith who had 4 sacks in 9 games as a freshman last year? I mean, Jesus.
Really, really good.
Right.
Yeah, they've got 3 guys down front that are really, really good. Yeah, Smith and Roy and Gay and the Wingo kid can play. Yeah.
But when we're talking about the front 4 against Florida State's 5, if their plan is truly to play contain, then the edge pressure shouldn't be as prevalent because that's not their goal. Their goal is to make him stay where he is, not flush.
Yeah, well, then you get into the question that I asked before the season started. We're better at wide receiver. How much better? Can they win one-on-ones? Because last year they schemed open all kinds of one-on-ones. None of the receivers could win one-on-ones, so it didn't make any damn bit of difference how well you called the game. You're going to get opportunities. Most teams are going to do what you're talking about. Most teams are not going to let, or they're going to try to keep Jordan Travis from beating them. I mean, when you have an obvious talent like that as a runner, you cannot let that guy beat you with his feet. That's the known. You know, make him beat you with his arm. So I think a lot of teams are going to try to take that away. Clemson took it away. LSU's going to try to take it away.
It's hard to, though, given if you've got agile interior linemen that you can pull and roll the pocket. I mean, we've seen that scheme. They ran it last week. It's nothing new.
Right.
It's something Mike does. It's not the easiest thing in the world to do because of his speed and because of the scheme we're running. But I wonder if part of the scheme might not be, all right, you know what? If they want to negate their advantage on the edges against our tackles, go ahead. Let's play contain, and then we'll see if we can run traditionally and you know, look at the perimeter for quick screens and things like that. And let's test whether or not their defensive backs can hold up because we're better at blocking on the perimeter.
Be exciting to find out. I'd love a game with a relatively clean pocket for Jordan Travis to prove how much better he is as a passer with some one-on-one situations. This is a big day for Jordan Travis, a big night for Jordan Travis on Sunday, a huge night. You were given the reins completely. You were told it's your team and nobody else's. It was confirmed on Saturday when your backup came in. You are the guy. And if you're going to take a huge leap forward and become a guy that the fan base trusts and your teammates believe in week to week, and you're proving yourself to be the player you think you are, and every good player thinks he's great, right? You have to. Then these games are the games you win. You just said it. I mean, Florida State has the better quarterback in this game in all likelihood. I think that is true in all likelihood. Go do that. Go prove that. If both defensive lines are going to carry the day, which quarterback makes plays, buys time, makes the throws necessary to put you in a good position?
Well, and that's the continuation of the Duquesne trend. Is it real or not? It was everybody so wide open by default that it's easy to pull the trigger quickly because he was quick with his decisions.
Yeah.
Or is it something more that you are seeing the keys you need to see, and because the receivers are starting to win matchups a little bit more often, that's why you're more decisive. Duquesne is not LSU. We all know that. But what is it? Is it about the process is quicker for him, or was it the result that they were just outmanned and so he's okay with maybe guessing to a degree?
We will not know this until kickoff on Sunday. Ira's binoculars, and I'll be up there in the press box as well, my eyes, everybody. How healthy is Florida State? I don't know. You had bumps and bruises and a lot of guys that, hey, let's take him out and be careful. Another guy had to come out. Let's shuffle this line around. You never know. They're not going to talk about it. They're careful. Well, some things they talk about when it's definitive. But when they don't know, they're very careful about revealing the relative health of a football team. And so you have, either because of some things that happened towards the end of camp or this first game, some question marks with guys. Now, we know that just observationally. Duke Cooper didn't play last week. He would have if he had been healthy, so clearly he wasn't healthy. So does Duke Cooper come back? I'd say that's a big deal when you're facing a real receiving core like this, okay? How healthy is the offensive line that shuffled so many guys? How many guys do you have back? How's Darius Washington? How's Maurice Smith? How any of them, right?
Right. Well, and there's a trickle down there, too, because if Maurice is available, then Darius can move around based upon need. But you just don't know. And frankly, I don't think, even if we could discuss what's going on in practice day by day, I don't think anybody's going to know until line rushes pregame, to your point.
That is correct. That is correct. So the bottom line is they shuffled a ton of different combinations out there on the offensive line. Some of that clearly was them experimenting in a game that they could. Some of it may have been some guys were dinged, and we need to see how you're going to play. If this guy can't go, can you play here? Can I put you with this combination? So we didn't know. So I bring up Duke Cooper. I bring up the offensive line. Johnny Wilson, how healthy is he going into this game? Obviously, they took him out for precautionary reasons. He could have come back into the game. They've said that. You saw him on the sideline putting the weight on the ankle. He wanted to get back out there, obviously. But, hey, no need to get back out there in a runaway game like that. So they rested him. But is he 100%? Is he close to 100%? Does he look smooth off the line? Is he able to do what he was able to do all fall practice? If he can't, that's a big deal. We won't know till game time. We won't know till we watch him running routes as they warm up. So a lot of question marks with key players on the roster that will also help dictate terms here. And sadly, it's only Wednesday, and we won't know the answers to that till Sunday. And LSU has some question marks, not only in terms of personnel up front, but also in the secondary. One of their better players has missed some time, then put back in, and wasn't going through walkthroughs with them when they had the starters out there. And then it's interesting to read their reports. I've been going to their sites, reading each day, catching up on their on-3 riders with LSU, trying to figure out exactly what their roster's doing. Now, they are healthy, Brian Kelly said up front.
Yeah.
Now, that's a true freshman left tackle making his first start, but he's a stud left tackle making his first start, or projects to be. That is a right tackle now playing center who's done that, I think, twice in his career. Let's see how he plays. So you have some question marks there, some guys that had to shuffle around. We'll see how healthy they are. We know John Emery's out because he's suspended. The Noah Cain kid's the transfer from Penn State. He's a kid that's a bigger running back, but not as fleet of foot. So it should be interesting to see which of those guys they lean on heavily. They do have a pretty talented tight end. That's not something we've talked about here. That could be an interesting matchup as well.
It'd be a little unproven in that position group, and that's one that there would be a philosophy change too with the new offense. So it'd be interesting to see how all those pieces integrate. They're also real scared about what their special teams is going to look like.
Yeah, well, when we had Matt Moscona on, I know we got a break, but when we had Matt Moscona on, and I'm going to talk to him tomorrow, he talked about it's the great unknown. They had an automatic guy that couldn't miss and got drafted in the 4th round. He was so good. And now you got a guy that's not ever had to do it, and you don't know, who's been up again and down again in practice. So, we'll see. I think both teams go into the game pretty nervous about their special teams.
Good, though. Good. Because I know what we have, and when I hear that somebody else doesn't feel great, I think, oh.
Good. And welcome to the club, right?
Even if it's a wash, I'll take it. If special teams is a wash this weekend, advantage Florida State.
Woo! Can't get here soon enough. We got a travel day tomorrow. We still got content for you. We'll be making our way towards New Orleans starting tomorrow, all that good stuff, man. The crew will be up there. You can flash it up there, all that we're going to have on Sunday, which is everything you could want. So first of all, Saturday meet and greet. That is 2 to 5 at the Howlin' Wolf and Den. Look forward to that. Should be a good time. That is St. Peter's Street, 907 St. Peter's Street. If you're headed to New Orleans, we'll be there from 2 to 5. Who knows? Could go longer than that. I don't know. And then obviously pregame show, 6:30 Eastern time. Watch along, 7:30 Eastern time. Post-game show Sunday night, 10 to 15 minutes after it ends. You can get all this for $1. That's right, just $1 if you sign up. Warchant.com, on-3, $1. All FSU fans, let's get to work. Make it happen. Let's get us over 10,000, right? Let's do that. Let's get to that number. I want to get there. Actively, I'm rooting for that number. And then I'm going to push us to 11,000. That's how I roll.
And then,
we're
going to go to North Carolina.
I'm not going to scream. I'm not going to scream. But I am going to tell you I'd like to get to 10,000 there. We're doing some good things. Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV. Hey, Nole fans, our partner ISF Inc. is a national management and IT consulting firm located right here in Tallahassee, Florida, solving the future for state governments through strategy, process, and technology. As a trusted advisor for state governments, ISF knows the importance of defining a clear and detailed strategy. Our friends at ISF can help your organization create a strategy that sets you on a path to success. ISF, your vision plus our expertise brings your brilliant ideas to life. Visit ISF.com to learn more. ISF, solving the future. If you're hearing this right now and you or someone you know is active military, a veteran, police officer, firefighter, nurse, or a teacher, turn up the volume and listen to this. My friend Shannon with Legendary Home Loans has a hometown hero loan program designed to make a difference to those who make a difference. When it's time to buy a new home, he will waive all lender fees for all hometown heroes. That's a $1,600 value right out of the gate. Also, if you decide to use their preferred title company for their closing, you'll be saving another $600. That's $2,200 in discounts right off the top. That's like 20 tanks of gas in your car. And today, more than ever, it's important to save as much money as you can, wherever you can. So if you or someone you know is active military, veteran, police officer, firefighter, nurse, or a school teacher and looking to buy a new home, choose Shannon Young, Legendary Home Loans, and ask about their Hometown Heroes program. Call 844-FSU-LOAN or just visit FSUHomeLoans.com. That's FSUHomeLoans.com.
Equal housing lender. NMLS number 2270146.
Football at El Jalisco, football at El Jalisco, what a combination. It's a great big celebration. It's football at El Jalisco. I can dig it. Who's playing? Oh, man, everybody. The ACC, the SEC, all the C's, and even the pros. The Bucks, the Steelers, the Giants, the Cowboys. Wow, far out. You bet, man. When the game is on, it's on at El Jalisco with incredible specials on everything from frosty cervezas to salty margaritas. Does Margarita know? Dios mío, not again. The best place to watch the game is El Jalisco. College, pros, Monday night, Thursday night, you name it, El Jalisco is football headquarters. And with 5 Tallahassee area locations, there's probably an El Jalisco right around the corner right now.
Whitten Glass has been taking care of families since 1945.
Experienced, reliable professionals who offer only the best, like Whitten's top-of-the-line bath enclosures. Eye-catching storefronts are a specialty at Whitten Glass, and they provide precise installation.
Whitten Glass, Tallahassee's first family in glass. Online at whittenglass.com. Call 850-222-5781.
The weather is unpredictable and can cause issues around your home. Weston Trawick provide commercial, residential, and industrial electrical wiring services, yearly inspections on fire alarms, portable generator sales, and so much more. With 24/7 emergency service and repair, Weston Trawick will be your calm in the storm. Give them a call at 514-0003. Weston Trawick, professional electrical services day or night. Visit online at westontrawick.com.
We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
The Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness. 2 Tallahassee locations, Midtown on Thomasville Road and Northside in the Village Common Shopping Center. Online at orangetheoryfitness.com.
Update here. Big 12 plans to engage in discussions with Fox and ESPN about the league's next television contract. The conference announced today, they said in a release, that it would be entering into discussion with multimedia partners to explore an accelerated extension of their current agreements. It's an exciting time for college athletics, and given the changing landscape, we welcome the opportunity to engage with our partners to determine if any early extension is in the best interest of all parties. That, according to Big 12 Commissioner Brett Yormark, Big 12 has enjoyed a fantastic relationship with its multimedia rights holders, and I look forward to having these conversations. I like how everybody is quick to point out their partners. Our commissioner does that all the time. Well, our partners at ESPN, man, just because you say that, they're not like currying favor.
Yeah, you're not guilting them into saying, you know what, you're right.
We really should give them more money. We should help those guys out. They really have no chance in hell under the current set of circumstances. And that Jim is such a good guy, always referencing us as a partner. Yeah. Anyhow, so they're going to do that. We shall see. Things can go sideways in a hurry in the world of college football. Nebraska's Scott Frost is being asked whether or not he and Mark Whipple hate each other. They didn't use the word hate, but they might as well have. My man's 15-30. They lost 31-28 to Northwestern. His comments were interpreted after the game as criticisms of Whipple, in which he talked a little bit about play calling late. And he went on to say that they were not at odds. Quote, "Oh, no, not at all. He's really smart, really good at what he does. We have a lot of other coaches who are really smart and good at what they do. We need to find our rhythm, putting all the best stuff out there together. I thought it was good on Saturday, but it can be better." That's Scott Frost on offense coordinator Mark Whipple. Was asked as well about what he might have been doing different, something along those lines. He did mention maybe running the quarterback a little bit more. Sounds like he was a little frustrated.
Yeah. Scott, what was the win probability when you tried
the onside kick?
Yeah. It was 88 according to ESPN.
Yeah.
But by anybody who was watching the game, the flow of the game, and I talked to a few, they said that game was over. It made no sense.
In theory, I was right. Podcast has contributed to our efforts and asked, do we have any stats regarding our offensive line's overall increase in size? The boys were looking formidable. Yeah, well, they certainly did against Duquesne, but they are bigger. They are.
Maurice put on 20 pounds. We'll see if he, can play.
Do you buy that? I don't.
I'd say 15 to 20 is fair.
I just don't see it. I think he's bigger, but 20 pounds is a lot, man.
Darius, another one. Mike talked about that preseason camp as Darius Washington was coming back to playing, getting up to speed. He said, "I don't even want to tell you what his game day weight was for a couple of Saturdays last year, but now he's a lot closer, a little over 300 pounds this offseason." So there's another one. But if you want to talk about the players that are going to be the offensive linemen of the future, they're all hosses.
Yeah, really big guys. Yeah.
They just got to put on their man density. And when they do, that's the group that
Well, I just believe I will tell you this, there are some of the younger players, redshirt freshmen, for example, that I think can play now. Estes being chief amongst them. I think if you started him now, he'd be fine from a size and beef standpoint. I mean, a size and strength standpoint.
Yeah.
I mean, he is such a he's a weight room nut. He's a dense dude. And I, listen, they say he's one of the strongest guys on the team. He's got the requisite size. I think he's got mobility. I like him. So I'd be excited to see him get an opportunity, because I'm of the mindset early on that I have a feeling, could be wrong on this, and it doesn't really matter, but I think at some point we're going to be looking at an offensive line that features Estes as a guard starting and Dylan Gibbons as a starting center.
Yeah, again, I was really, in a weird way, I was hoping it wasn't for any reason of necessity, and Mike intimated that in the postgame. But I was happy that they showed that, because Gibbons gives you a professional effort at center. I don't necessarily mean NFL draft pick quality at center. I'm not sure. Maybe not. We'll see what the film says by the end of the year and what the scouts say. But he's good there. Solid.
I liked him.
With Darius, with Maurice, I have more doubts than I do with Dylan Gibbons when he's at center. It's just a question of what are you losing? What are you losing? And if Estes slides in, or Emmanuel played at left guard first, that was the first guy to get the look there, and Jazz at right guard, I think you can work with a lot more there, especially if Darius is up to full strength, because then he can fit in anywhere that you're failing. And I think your center position is just rock solid with Dylan. So we'll see. It's just not an easy deal. LSU is learning that. We know that. It's one thing to go up against Duquesne's defensive interior. It's another against LSU's or Clemson's or somebody else, when basically you're giving a tenth of a second to the opposition. You're giving them time to get on you. You've got to be extremely strong and technical and agile, and Gibbons is all of those things.
One thing to note, too, I will say this. It is clear that the competition was steep and somewhat undetermined I would also note that clearly when you have bumps and bruises, in some cases a real severe injury, like a guy who has to miss the season, Caden Lyles, others who are dealing with whatever temporary problems they have and recovering from injury, Murray Smith, who knows how long. I don't know if he'll play this weekend. Don't know if it's next weekend. Don't know if it's the weekend. We don't know. We just know he was listed as the or, which is a good sign that he's progressing because he was not on the depth chart last week. But the point would be everything in between, right? You have the gone for the season. You have the, well, a little banged up. We don't know when he's coming back. When you have that situation and you're competing because you're just trying to find your best five, they talk about that all the time, right? You cross-train guys, you try to find your best five. If you're still shuffling guys to the extent that they're still shuffling guys, it means you don't know for sure who your five are, which is not ideal as you get set to play LSU. It's necessitated, but it's not ideal. You would have liked to have known, obviously, knock on wood, you don't have a season-ending injury to a player. I don't know if Caden Lyles would have started or not, but he would have factored into the depth chart, certainly.
Yeah, well, when Maurice went down, he would have been snapping the ball on Saturday.
That's
for
correct.
Sure.
So they were struck with some unfortunate situations, but this is, again, where the positive of added depth and the moves you made in the transfer portal allows you a fighting chance, even if guys are missing some time, and you're still shuffling to figure out what's what. They're shuffling pieces that can play. They're not all elite players. They're not a dominant offensive line, even if they're completely healthy. Nobody's suggesting that. But they are all players that can play. And so you're no longer shuffling in guys that are, frankly, another body, as Jimbo would say, just added depth. Not really a guy that does anything to help you win a football game at all. They're just somebody you can start because they happen to be big, but they don't really provide anything in the way of a plus effort. That's not who FSU is right now. What FSU is right now is still figuring out who they are up front, but with guys that can play when you're experimenting. That's huge. That is an example of the progress made. It's still not ideal. I think you should have, if in an ideal situation, you should have your starting five that you feel very good about and know completely what they are. I still don't think they have that.
Yeah, I totally agree. But I also think that given what Atkins has done, you're going to get better as the season goes along. As long as you're a healthy body on the offensive line, you're going to get better. Like, for example, Jazz is going to have more time to get up to speed. And they really loved him immediately at guard.
They did.
Didn't see that coming because in camp they moved him there so late. But he supplanted Estes as the first man off the bench, apparently. Because when Gibbons slid to center, then Emmanuel goes to left guard and Jazz plays right guard. Fascinating. Because we thought he was going to be a backup tackle, but they like him even more at guard.
Yeah, we fell victim to what I think the obvious conclusions were, that if you're 6'7" and with that reach, you're likely a tackle.
Well, that's where he was playing before too. And it doesn't mean that he won't play tackle as well. He might very well be like a Darius Washington. He's going to be one of the swingmen on the offensive line based upon need. They're going to plug him in. For Estes' case, though, I think what's going to happen with him whenever he plays this year, and I figure he's going to be in the rotation, he's going to have some awful moments. He's going to turn some guys loose and you say, Jesus, Bryson. But it won't be without another argument that you could make of, oh my God, he just road graded 2 plays in a row, 3 plays in a row.
Well,
there's going to be some feast and famine there, but we're coming from the land of all famine. I mean, like,
yeah, man,
we're off the boat from Ireland from the potato famine. That's where we've been.
We have found food. It's not always gourmet food, but we have found some food, my friend. It's nice to be able to eat.
Get you a crumb.
Every now and again, baby. It's Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Your local news now.
The Florida Highway Patrol responded to a single car crash on Tuesday evening on I-10 at Mahan Drive. The incident happened at a little after 5 p.m. when a box truck was traveling westbound on I-10. For an unknown reason, the driver lost control of the truck, which caused the vehicle to overturn. The driver suffered from minor injuries while the passenger was transported to Tallahassee Memorial with serious injuries. No further information was released. Late Monday, Quincy police announced the arrest of a suspect for 2 recent deadly shootings in the community less than a week apart. Darius Smith faces first-degree murder charges in the killing of Claudia Kirkland. 20-year-old Kirkland was found shot in the early morning hours next to a bullet-riddled car in the area of US 90 and South Jackson Street. Smith will also be charged in the August 26th death of 18-year-old Ashanti Lewis. Lewis was shot and killed while driving on West Crawford near South 9th Street. Investigators say Smith opened fire from his car while driving behind and then next to Lewis. This is Rachel Lene with your Real Talk 93.3 local news update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at MacklemoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Scattered thunderstorms likely this afternoon, otherwise cloudy. High temperatures reach up to 91, southwesterly winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. Scattered thunderstorms likely tonight, lows level off around 74, overcast skies. Scattered thunderstorms again tomorrow, highs level off around 89, sunshine mixed with clouds at times. This report is brought to you by The Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Right now, 93.
This is Kyle, service manager from Barano Heating and Air. Schedule an appointment from your mobile device to learn about our Total Comfort Service Program. With guaranteed same-day service, 15% off necessary repairs, and $25 berry bucks to use towards air filters and other products. Turn to the experts at Carrier and Barano Heating and Air. Any day, anytime, anywhere. Online at baranoac.com.
Florida license CAC 1816-186.
Well. Hey, Jeff, look at this place.
Yeah. Well, doing well. It's been a while since I've seen you, brother, but, it hasn't been a while since I've been over to Gordo's. I go there on the regular because of you, Eddie.
Well, we keep you regular.
Well, that's true, but I think of Gordo's as a place to sit down, have a cold beer, talk to your friends, enjoy the sports, eat the delicious food. But I think of you as Uncle Eddie, a man who takes care of his people and takes care of the town.
I appreciate that, Jeff. Hey, and we'll keep you regular.
Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
Here's what you missed on the Greg Tish Show.
There's a TikTok that's going viral because of a butter softening method. They are putting the Vermont Creamery butter in the waistband of her pants. Give it 5 minutes. You can go and measure out your ingredients, and then your butter is ready to go. You cannot do this in Florida.
No.
Because your pants will be full of butter in 2 minutes. Somebody try it. Post on TikTok.
Unless it says juicy across the back.
The Greg Tish Show, Monday through Friday, 6 to 9 a.m., only on Real Talk 93.3. The Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
Navigate the show solely based on what guys are arguing about in the chat, but I'll check it a lot of times during the break just to see if somebody has asked a pointed question that we need to get to, or a repeated question, meaning that there are, say, 9 people asking the same thing or something like that. Also, observationally, occasionally I see something that I think, okay, well, that's interesting. It's worth talking about. The matchup that concerns everybody rightfully, if you're looking at personnel, is their defensive line against Florida State's offensive line. It's the one thing that you get very worried about. And the only other thing you get very worried about is if for some reason either quarterback has time to throw to those elite receivers, because we're a little iffy, I believe, at corner. A little iffy there. So I like our safeties, a little iffy at corner. So if we're going to address this situation with their defensive line perhaps exposing Florida State's offensive line, just remember this. I don't care if Mason Smith or any of the other defensive linemen, all of whom are very talented. Again, we talk about the 3 that project to the NFL, but they have 5 deep that they feel very good about that will eventually get a chance to play in the NFL. They got real talent. One of them is a true freshman, but still, they got that kind of talent. They recruited the position extremely well. Ed Orgeron recruits defensive line, and I know he's gone, but while he was there, even in the midst of all the chaos, he brought in a lot of talent up front, okay, on the defensive line. But keep in mind that while Florida State likely doesn't push them around, create gaping holes to run through, they didn't have an offensive line at any one of the positions a year ago, tackle, guard, center, guard, tackle, that was a plus player and could win his matchup on the regular. None of them could. None of them. Dylan Gibbons was the lone exception, but he got hurt and had to play hurt, And so half the time he was neutralizing the other guy, not winning. He wasn't a sieve like the rest of everybody else. And Alex Atkins found a way through angles and scheme to make something happen to the tune of Florida State scoring 27, 28 points a game. All right. That's less than ideal. You're surviving at that point. But scheme and coaching matters. And when you recognize going into a game that you don't have a distinct advantage, obviously you have to play it a different way. You have to play away from that mismatch. You have to figure out a way to disguise, cover up, avoid having that exposed. Good coaches do that. Now, if you've got to do that every week and there's a decided disadvantage, and there are more than just those disadvantages elsewhere, let's say, yeah, it's going to catch up to you. You're going to lose football games, bottom line. But it doesn't mean that you go into a game where you say these three guys are going to be better than the interior of our offensive line, and therefore we can't win the game. No, you move your quarterback off the point. You get those guys going sideways, and you try to wear their ass out. No, you're not dumb enough to beat your head against a wall, but you do things to neutralize their strengths. And Alex Atkins, I may point out, did that with a far inferior offensive line than he has this year.
Yeah, I think to the point where you test it just to see how much can they do. I think you test it early on. It doesn't mean that your first two drives are first down, run up the middle, second down between the tackles up the middle.
Yeah.
But I think you test it and you say, how far have you come? Because if you've come far enough that I can win 1 out of 3 or 2 out of 5 in that situation, it's worth it to us to do this in order to set up things that we want outside. And that would be a huge leap. If you see that in the second quarter, we're 3 drives in, and I don't know, maybe there's 6-7 points on the board for Florida State, and you're saying, you know what? 2nd and 7 again. We didn't do anything fancy.
Yeah, so last year it was 2nd and 13.
Right.
Last year it was 2nd and 15, or you had to do something unique, and it was so frustrating to have to trick people all the time and never be able to line up and just play football. I'll answer the question, Joseph. Alex Atkins by a lot. But the point is, I think this thing is screwed up. But anyhow, it may be a bot. But the point would be that I'm of the mindset that Alex will do a lot to offset those issues. Okay, that you can't win each week having to, I guess. Bottom line is, we saw with angles they created a running game with a suspect passing game and a negative offensive line. They still found ways.
Yeah.
Jordan Travis is a big part of how they find ways because of his legs. We know that. But that's still here. That's not going anywhere.
On the field.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's if you want to create the optimist's point of view and path to victory, you say, there are some things that I know that are going to happen. Florida State is going to isolate running backs and receivers on linebackers and safeties to the point that they're in one-on-one and they might be trailing by a good bit. And it's just a matter of Jordan hitting those throws. That happens week after week in this offense. You can expect that there's going to be at least one explosive run of longer than 25 yards because it happens every week, no matter what, with all the problems that they have with the tools that they had last year. Now it's how much more do you have on top of that? If you've got receivers that you like to block, make guys miss, and win one-on-ones, does that add another chapter to the playbook and more possibilities that mean that the base things that you can expect are going to happen with greater frequency? And do you believe that Jordan Travis is more decisive as a quarterback, that what you saw last week is going to be what you're going to see all season long? Because if that's the case too, now the offense is in a place where the only thing you have is last year was a rail route. Now you've got like 4 things that you know are going to happen in a given week. That is the balance that you're searching for. Then basic stuff starts working if you've got balance.
In a game 1 where speed adjustment is vital, meaning for LSU to have to play against a real football team as opposed to each other in practice and walkthroughs as they implement new schemes, I really think it's going to be vital that you use Jordan Travis's elite running ability in this game. Now, I want him to come out and throw the ball and establish that. That's not something we could do a year ago. I'd like to see some of that, especially because I don't think you're going to be able to run traditionally at all. But I would tell you, again, the other part of that, I keep pointing to this is a Jordan Travis moment. He has to be great. he has a chance to be great because you have to use all facets of his skill set on Sunday.
Right. Well, that's also RPOs. That could be a give on a run.
Exactly what that is.
It could be him breaking outside like he did for the touchdown, and then he actually throws it to the perimeter.
It's also him.
Those are all examples of using his legs.
It's also a rollout, one read,
right?
Open, throw it, not run. I mean, just simple stuff with that ability.
The basic thing that buoyed me last week was, again, it's called the glance concept, but everybody knows it. It's a basic RPO. You're reading a defender's seat. Is he crashing against the run? If so, I can throw it. Is he staying back in coverage? If so, I hand it off. I haven't seen him deliver the throw part of that equation as well as he did last week. If that is something that you can hang your hat on at this point, that gets real fun.
Well, and also it'll slow down for them. I thought they were a little rushed there a couple of times, so it's fascinating. Now they get more comfortable running it as part of what you do, as part of your base. Yeah, absolutely. It's exciting. Coming up next hour, we're playing some Garnet and Gold trivia. This is for our Warchant.com members only. If you haven't signed up, it's $1. Head to the Tribal Council and look it up. Look at the top, I should say. Look it up. Searching desperately. Look at the top for the trivia thread. First one to post the correct answer next hour will win $25 to Garnet and Gold. So stay tuned for that. That's coming up next hour. Speaking of which, we'll break here.
Give your business a facelift with a modern, consistent, creative brand overhaul from Curiosity Marketing Group. These days, it's not enough for your business just to have a standard website or a Google listing to reach your customers. Your business needs to stand out with eye-popping branding, modern web development, and strong marketing. And it takes a team to pull it all together. Words and websites matter. At Curiosity, we make the most of yours. Find out more at curiositymg.com.
I used to fight almost on a daily basis working on my business website. I'm a pretty smart guy, but I could never get it to function the way I needed it to, and I was losing customers because of it. That's when I called Curiosity Marketing. They listened, they understood, we collaborated, and in the end, they delivered beyond my highest expectations. Now, I can barely keep up with the work. They say the future belongs to the curious, and now I'm excited about the future of my business.
Find out more at curiositymg.com.
Thank you for calling the Medicare Help Desk. How can we help you?
Can you help me choose the right coverage for myself and my wife?
We sure can. We can help you choose from Medicare supplements, Medicare Advantage, or standalone prescription drug plans from over 30 different insurance carriers.
How much does it cost? We have a fixed income and can't afford extra expenses.
At the Medicare Help Desk, the consultation is completely free. We are here to help.
Thank you, Medicare Help Desk.
Hi, this is Justin Colvin, founder of the Medicare Help Desk. In my 17 years of experience, I routinely speak to seniors who are overwhelmed by the multitude of coverage options available to them. That's why I created the Medicare Help Desk, a place for you to get clear answers to all your questions and make sense of all the confusion. I've helped thousands of clients, and I live right here in Tallahassee with my family. I am active in my church and wish to help and serve my community. If you need help navigating the Medicare landscape, I'm easy to find. Just visit the MedicareHelpDesk.com. That's the MedicareHelpDesk.com.
Hearth and Patio wants you to know now is the time to start thinking about your fireplaces. Yes, we know that temperatures are going to be in the mid to upper 90s for the next couple of months, but now is the time to start thinking about upgrading those fireplaces. You're not going to be using them. Get those fireplaces upgraded now. They can repair all makes and models of fireplaces. 850-727-4282. That's 850-727-4282. Or visit them online at hearthpatiotallahassee.com.
There's fun to be had every night at the Corner Pocket. Take home prizes on Trivia Tuesdays and Beer Bingo Thursdays. And kickstart your weekend with Martini Fridays. Plus, happy hour runs every weekday and game day specials every time the Noles take the field. Watch all the best games at the Corner Pocket's Vegas Wall, featuring 560 inches of flat screen TV heaven.
Oh, really?
The best food, the best drinks, and the best place to watch all the games. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
Coming up next, more of the Jeff Cameron Show. Live and local on Real Talk 93.3. WVFT, Greta, Tallahassee.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm John Scott. Republicans hoping to seize control of the House in November are already setting their sights on what is, for many of them, a top priority next year, impeaching President Biden. Details from Bernie Bennett.
A number of rank-and-file conservatives have already introduced impeachment articles in the current Congress against the president. They accuse Mr. Biden of committing, quote, high crimes in his approach to a range of issues touching on border enforcement, the coronavirus pandemic, and withdrawal of U.S. troops from Afghanistan. Those resolutions never had a chance of seeing the light of day, with Democrats holding a narrow control over the lower chamber. But with Republicans widely expected to win the House majority in the midterms, many of those same conservatives want to tap their new potential powers to oust a president they deem unfit. Bernie Bennett in Washington.
Also at townhall.com, Mississippi's capital city grappling with multiple water problems. Too much on the ground after heavy rainfall in the past week, and not enough safe water coming through the pipes for people to use. Parts of Jackson without running water Tuesday because flooding exacerbated longstanding problems with one of its 2 water plants. The city of 150,000 had already been under a boil water notice for a month. On the economic front, a Japanese automaker spending a lot of money to fuel a shift away from the internal combustion engine.
Toyota investing $5.6 billion in Japan and the U.S. to boost production of batteries for electric vehicles. That's according to the automaker, which has enjoyed some success with its Prius and other hybrid models, which have an engine as well as a battery-driven electric motor. And so the company has, at times, been seen as lagging behind on electric vehicles. Rich Thomason reporting.
On Wall Street, the Dow is down 146 points. The S&P 500 off 14. More at townhall.com.
Hey, I'm Andy. If you don't know me, it's probably because I'm not famous. But I did start a men's grooming company called Harry's. The idea for Harry's came out of a frustrating experience I had buying razor blades. Most brands were overpriced, overdesigned, and out of touch. At Harry's, our approach is simple. Here's our secret. We make sharp, durable blades and sell them at honest prices for as low as $2 each. We care about quality so much that we do some crazy things, like buy a world-class German blade factory. Obsessing over every detail means we're confident in offering a 100% quality guarantee. Millions of guys have already made the switch to Harry's, so thank you if you're one of them. And if you're not, we hope you give us a try with this special offer. Get a Harry starter set with a 5-blade razor, weighted handle, shave gel, and a travel cover. All for just $3 plus free shipping. Just go to harrys.com and enter 3388 at checkout. That's harrys.com, code 3388. Enjoy.
Every day, Sellers makes life a little better for homeowners, helping them find the best design ideas for their homes with the best quality tile, carpet, and hardwood flooring. Even mosaics, ceramic, and vinyl solutions are at their fingertips in their remarkable showroom. Maybe it's time for you to get the Sellers Advantage for your home or office. Find them on Capitol Circle Northeast, just north of Mahan Drive, or online at sellerstile.com. For style, quality, and design, get the Sellers Advantage. In Tallahassee, call 656-8453.
We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
Broadcasting live from Florida's capital city, this is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness on Real Talk 93.3. Now, stop what you're doing and listen closely. It's time for the Jeff Cameron Show in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
In just a little bit. That'll be when do you want to do that, Tommy? When do you want to ask that question? Maybe
what do you think of the question? Do you like the question?
Yeah, I'm fine with the question. Yeah,
Okay.
it makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Looking at these weekend lines. Tomorrow's Redemption Thursday. A full Redemption Thursday slate. Woo! What do we have here?
Can you feel the tension in
It's
the air
right.
right now?
It's all out there, baby.
I know I can.
You know, it's interesting to note the opening line of Georgia and Oregon was 17.5. That's Georgia. That line has since moved to just 17. South Point, Circa, Golden Nugget, Westgate, Wynn, Caesars, Mirage. It's 17. It's moved a half point since that came out a while back. That's it. That has just remained remarkably stable.
It has to be the knowledge that Oregon has about Georgia's scheme, familiarity, right?
Yeah, and they got good players. They recruited well. They've got good players.
Isn't it Bo? Bo Nix? Didn't we have that discussion last week?
Yeah, they ended up.
Did they name somebody else?
Well, no. What I'm saying is, when I was talking about their offensive line, talking about their defensive line, I mean, against Georgia, you've got, yes, Bo Nix is at Oregon. You're correct, but I'm less worried about quarterback, and I don't love Bo, and I'm picking Georgia. I'm not betting the game.
I'm just saying, if Bo's the quarterback, in order to cover, Georgia might need 21 points.
Yeah. Well, it's got to hurt to lose 15 players to the NFL draft. I mean, one would think if you have 15 players taken in the NFL draft that you're going to take a step back. We'll see. Little underrated, saucy kind of game that's out there this weekend is that Arkansas-Cincinnati matchup.
That is running concurrent to the Oregon-Georgia game. It's pretty much the same window. I think it kicks off at 4 Eastern.
6.5. Arkansas is favored by 6.5.
Really?
There it is. Some of the other highlights to, I told you, Tom, all off season, really couldn't wait till Saturday, September the 3rd to get to that big Rutgers-Boston College matchup. Folks up there in the Northeast are ready to rumble.
That number is a touchdown, right?
It is.
Boston College by a touchdown?
By a touchdown.
Interesting. What's the over-under? 20?
49.5.
What?
You're taking the under.
Yeah.
It's been moved to 48 if we're going consensus line.
Got to get on it.
Better jump. Tom's skewing the line, pounding that under.
Pound it.
Here's a game. Here's a game I'm going to give you tomorrow, and a game that's on my personal list. Give me Illinois +3 against Indiana.
You have a small affinity for what Mr. Bielema's doing.
I just think Indiana sucks. They had the good COVID year, and everybody was like, look at Indiana, man. They're really, no, they suck. And I'm getting 3. I'll take it.
Hey, buddy, tomorrow it's West Virginia at Pitt.
I know it is. Well, backyard action. Here we go.
Yeah.
No, I'm anxious about it. Being in a sports book while watching all the love. That's what I call the return of college football. Just all the love is all around you.
A swath of love.
Just it's all there. And, you have to be careful. You can find yourself betting on games like Buffalo and Maryland. It just happens. They do play this weekend, I might add. It just could be. I didn't make it up. The next thing you know, you're like, Tom, that Texas State-Nevada matchup is about to be a go. Let's get our tickets in.
About a little Wake Forest hosting VMI.
Okay.
It's a little 7:30 ACC network kickoff.
Little Massachusetts and Tulane calling your name, right? All of a sudden, you're like, look at this.
That's tomorrow. That's so cool. It's weird because we played a game and we've seen some games, but it really does feel as though tomorrow is opening day. And it's when the football season really starts.
It's yeah. I mean, outside of
Penn State, Purdue. Come on, what are we doing?
We're betting. We're betting on games. We're gonna have a good time.
Putting that on Fox.
I will tell you that most of the people thinking about our game on Sunday have reached a level of it's Balls McWednesday. They've reached a level of nerves. I saw it, Preston. I saw it. 78 yards passing for Nevada last week. Preston's a man that I admire. His Saturdays are similar to my Saturdays. Let's just put it that way. Good times abound. Every game can be interesting.
Sportsbook Central and NOLA. And you don't even have to be at one because, it's on your phone now. You can put your ticket in from your phone and listen to great music. So it's going to be quite the experience.
Dave said, hey, thanks for the fireball shot. Love the show. I bought Dave a fireball shot on Saturday.
You did?
Yeah.
Oh, that was nice of you.
Yeah.
Was that during the weather delay?
No, it was at the second half of the game. It had become a runaway.
In the Memorial Champions Club?
Yeah, I was there.
All
and
right.
I went to get a beer for my father, and I saw Dave. Dave walked up and said that he enjoyed the show. We began to have a conversation. I said, how about I get you a fireball shot, Dave? Why don't we do that?
Wow. Did you guys take a selfie video?
No.
Okay. So that's why you got Dave a fireball shot, because he understands.
We're grown-ass men out here having a fireball shot.
Oh, see, he returned the favor. He got you an 850.
Yeah, no, I wasn't saying he was cheap. I think, by that time it was 40-7.
Mm-hmm.
We were wrapping things up on the
Did you stay all the way?
Mm-hmm.
Good for you. I'm impressed.
You thought I would jet?
Yes, 100%.
No, we stayed.
The moment that Jordan was out of the game, and maybe the pick by Tate. Maybe after they scored their touchdown. There it is. That's the moment I think you would have been like, all right, well, then we're not shutting them out.
No, we stayed for the entirety of the game. I wanted to see every last player that got an opportunity to play in said game. And
how'd your dad feel about the game?
He was happy. I think, that's something, by the way, this week. It's so funny to think, yes, we're still using prize picks. Yak, I'll be on that later. They start
that tomorrow.
They start tomorrow.
That's right.
They're back on board. All the gambling people are coming back, guys. Lee Sterling joins me on Friday. We've got what's the other thing we're doing there?
Prize picks again.
Well, no prize picks, but we also have we have bet whatever.
Oh, my bookie.
Yeah, but my bookie.
That's a Headlines venture. Yeah,
I got all kinds of people.
Yeah, good for you guys over at Headlines.
We've got a lot, man. I'm looking through the list of things that I got to remember to tell everybody about. Look at all this stuff. We got a lot of stuff, guys. A lot of stuff.
Your dad is typically a good barometer, though, of the Noles fan.
So I wanted to get back to that point. Isn't it nice to overanalyze and dissect a 40-point win? Now, again, you can do that and talk about how nice it is to do that, while understanding that you really can't derive a lot from it. Meaning, look, you are faster, you are bigger, you are stronger, you are deeper, you are everything better than Duquesne. You did what you should have done. You did exactly what was required of you in a game in which you are a massive favorite. Speaking of which, if you would have found a line, you would have found a line at around 41.5. I found that line and paid dearly for believing that they would cover it with a bunch of stupid field goals late in the second quarter. But so what I'd tell you, first half line did cover. What I would tell you is that Florida State hasn't. I mean, we haven't seen Florida State take care of business in that way, in a physically imposing, dominating way, for especially early in a season when you go in with expectations. Yeah. We just haven't seen it. Now, the one-off UMass where
this was different than UMass.
Yes.
This was a different, like, I sound like Jimbo. I was going to say a different something else, but it ended up being Jimbo with, who was it? Was it the Ruble discussion? Or was that Beatty? Maybe it was Case and Beatty.
Oh, anybody got debt?
Yeah.
That was Case and Beatty.
Yeah, that was Case and Beatty. That game still had rushing touchdowns, but it didn't feel like this one felt, where they just decided we're gonna roll over on you every play, and we'll throw it a little bit. But you know what? This is who we are. We're about pounding the rock. This is the identity we want to form. We want one of toughness. The receivers were engaged across the board. Micah Pittman missed one block or maybe two, but I thought on the whole, to use one of the old hashtags, Johnny was great before he got hurt. Malik was engaged. Keyshawn Helton was downfield throwing blocks. I mean, there was a commitment to toughness that felt different than even the UMass game did last year.
Well, I think if your identity is that you want to be a team that can run the football, you better be tough. And if you've added depth to your offensive line, you've added size to your offensive line, you have a quarterback that you want to run, which also opens up the rest of the running game. That is your identity. Florida State is going to be a running football team who's capable of passing. It's not the other way around. This isn't one of those teams that's going to spread you out and sling it all over the lot and get you reeling and then run the football. That's not this team. This team's going to try to run the ball. Now, in individual games where that advantage is moot, then, yeah, maybe you come at it a little bit different way. I think this game is – but the identity of this team, the core of what they want to do is to run the football. And I still think that makes sense because your quarterback, even if he's better, is not an elite passer. Secondly, you don't have an elite receiving core. You have one that's better than a year ago. Great, good. At least you have some viable options. That's good to know. Still not elite. So it makes sense. You don't have a tight end you believe in. So there's all of this that tells you you've got to run the ball. You have a bunch of running backs you trust, a deeper offensive line, a mobile quarterback. Yeah, run the ball. But the thing about teams that run, it's here. It is constant. That is your ass. You are going to get worn out. We're going to move you side to side. Then we're going to bludgeon you up the gut. We're going to do all of these things to impose our will, which is what the running game is. So they better be tough. They better be physical. And I thought that's what was smart about the game plan against an outmatched team. They're outmatched against the pass or the run. Didn't matter. You had your choice. The choice was we want to run the ball. We want to instill in our offensive linemen's heads and our running backs' heads, run hard. Here it comes again. Here we go again. You can't stop it. We're going to keep running it. Now, I don't know how many times they can do that this year. I don't know how many games where in the second half they're doing that.
Yeah, there's one advanced scout that's valuable this weekend, which is, I believe, Syracuse and Louisville, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that is an interesting matchup because that's all Syracuse does with Sean Tucker.
Yeah.
So it'll be valuable information as to whether or not that's something that we could do.
Yeah, and otherwise you would really probably never choose to watch Syracuse and Louisville, but we do play Louisville right around, obviously right around the bend. Some people, I was reading an article yesterday, and they were talking about Louisville. Yeah, it is Syracuse and Louisville. By the way, that number is 4 for Louisville. It opened to 4, it's moved to 4.5. Consensus 4.5.
That tells you what Vegas thinks about Louisville's run defense, right? Because Syracuse is a one-trick pony.
But I also think Syracuse, the people who, if for some reason you think Syracuse is better than they are, then you think they got better on defense. If you think Louisville's better than, I don't know, they were a year ago, then you think they got better on defense. You already know Malik Cunningham. And they have weapons on offense. So you're looking for their defense to be better. So I sure hope they're wrong. I sure hope that defense isn't a lot better. I think that's the area that we plan to exploit against Louisville on the road is that game may end up being a bit of a high scoring game, which in this week I look at the tilt as lower scoring, or at least certainly for the first half when they're feeling each other out, figuring out what works, what doesn't work. I think they're both these teams. This game may be boring. We're going to be sky high emotionally. They'll be sky high emotionally. The fans in the Superdome will be sky high emotionally. The coaches are going to be cautious. So everybody's going to be at a fever pitch, and the coaches are going to be like, hold, let's see, I don't know. What are you? So because there's a lot going on, and it's so early in the season, you don't want to make big mistakes that swing the momentum and change the energy of all that stuff. Just, I don't know. LSU's a great unknown, man. We know some of that personnel for sure. We know the guys that project to the NFL. We know Boutte is a star wide receiver. We saw Jaden Daniels at Arizona State, but all these guys are coming together. You got to see how this offense looks. We got to see what this offensive line is, a bit of a patchwork group. We got to see, they're going to play with 3 down linemen mainly defensively. We know that, and 3 good ones at that. But they're kind of a great unknown. So I do think there's a feeling out process, which leads to, without a big mistake, a pretty low scoring first half. Might change in the second, but that first half, I think you're going to get pretty low scoring.
Yeah, I think it might be in fits and starts for both teams.
Kind of a sloppy, convoluted game.
I'll believe that we are a consistently productive offense when I see it, but I think we're going to a place where you can expect when they run hot, it's going to look good. That's something we saw at camp. There were certain days where the offense had the opposition off balance. And you thought, man, he's in a rhythm. Mike is in a rhythm. I don't know that we've had too many opportunities to see Mike Norvell in a rhythm here.
Mm-hmm.
And it would be nice if that happened a little bit more often. If you can complete passes with regularity, it doesn't have to be 30-yard bombs. It just has to be an 8-yard in that we're talking about. Johnny on first down, what can he do for you? He's a huge target to hit. If you can do that with some consistency, then you might see what Mike Norvell at Memphis was like, what those fans know him as, because they don't recognize the offense that we've had the last couple of years.
Well, the fans at Memphis saw him score 70-plus points 3 different times when he was calling plays at Memphis and leading their offense. Yeah, when he had everything clicking the way that he wanted to. Yeah. All right, so I'm going to ask this trivia question. You guys got to answer it on the message boards, right? Is that what we do?
Yeah, they go to the thread. And it was crazy last week. It was 25 or 30 responses within a few minutes. So you better get on it. Be ready, folks.
Get over there to the Tribal Council and look up top for the trivia thread. And the first one to post the correct answer here after I ask the question, you're going to get a $25 gift card to Garnet and Gold. So here you go. You ready? You got your thread over there ready to go too? Everybody can get in there? I'm trying to stall for him, Tommy.
That's right.
It's trying to do the right thing.
It's got a little yellow bar next to it that says important announcement. And then you see trivia in all caps.
Now, obviously, this is for warchant.com members only. So if you have not signed up, it's $1. Go sign up. You may not get there in time, my friend. Not this week, but maybe next. It's $1. And you could win $25. Yeah. Garnet and Gold.
Little 250% ROI.
Woo! All right, you ready for the question? Garnet and Gold trivia time, kiddos. Here we go. This, again, for warchant.com members only. And you have to be the first to head to the Tribal Council and post the correct answer in our trivia thread to win 25 smackaroos. Who was the last Seminole? Who was the last Florida State player to score a touchdown against LSU? That's your question. Again, who was the last Seminole to score a touchdown against LSU?
If you're a business owner of any kind, you need advanced fire protection services. We are AFPS, and we provide high-quality life safety services throughout Northwest Florida, and we've been doing it since 1989, with offices now in Tallahassee. Fire sprinklers, fire alarms, fire extinguishers, hood suppression systems, and emergency exit lights. For all of your life safety equipment, we've got you covered 24/7. We are Advanced Fire Protection Services. For a free life safety system evaluation, visit WeSaveLives.com. That's WeSaveLives.com.
Right here in our hometown is a local spot where you can take a break from all your worries. A place where everybody knows his name is Smitty's Tap House and Grill. Smitty's deep appreciation for fine craft beers and tasty bar treats sets the stage as the ideal local neighborhood pub. Want to know more? Just visit Smitty'sTapHouse.com to check out the full menu. Come see us at Smitty's Tap House and Grill on Thomasville Road, just north of Cary Forest Parkway. You'll be glad you came, where everybody knows his name.
You were always more than my mom. You were my role model, my best friend, and biggest supporter. You filled my days with unconditional love. And you also prepared for the day when you couldn't be here. Because of the woman you were back then, I'm able to be the woman I am now. Your planning made this moment possible.
Set your family up for life. Southern Farm Bureau Life Insurance. Your friends for life.
This is Andy Cohen. When I was a law enforcement officer, I devoted my life to a career of service and protection. Who's protecting you? Give me a call. 850-671-FARM. That's 671-FARM. Helping you is what we do best.
Southern Farm Bureau Life Insurance Company, Jackson, Mississippi. Not licensed to do business in all 50 states.
Hey, fans, our partner ISF Inc. is a national management and IT consulting firm located right here in Tallahassee, Florida, solving the future for state governments through strategy, process, and technology. As a trusted advisor for state governments, ISF knows the importance of defining a clear and detailed strategy. Our friends at ISF can help your organization create a strategy that sets you on a path to success. ISF, your vision plus our expertise brings your brilliant ideas to life. Visit ISF.com to learn more. ISF, solving the future.
It's been a while since I gave myself a real chance to meet someone new.
Susan and John are two kindred spirits who rediscovered the romance they deserve on Silver Singles, the secure dating site for singles over 50.
John is a massive foodie like me. It's been amazing to experience some of my favorite things again with someone who makes my heart beat faster. I'm so glad I got back out there.
Sign up today at silversingles.com/date. That's silversingles.com/date.
If you want to pay off high-interest debt faster, it's time to refinance with American Financing, America's home for home loans. Get a free mortgage review and learn about custom loans that can save you up to $1,000 a month. If you start soon, you may close in as fast as 10 days. Call 866-886-2026. That's 866-886-2026. Or visit AmericanFinancing.net. NMLS 182334, NMLSConsumerAccess.org.
We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
The Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness. 2 Tallahassee locations, Midtown on Thomasville Road and Northside in the Village Common Shopping Center. Online at orangetheoryfitness.com.
Military, a veteran, police officer, firefighter, nurse, or a teacher. Listen up, my friend Shannon with Legendary Home Loans as a hometown hero loan program designed to make a difference to those who make a difference in the community. Good way to start here. Maybe it's time for you to buy a new home. You can waive all lender fees for all hometown heroes. $1,600 value right out of the gate. If you decide to use their preferred title company for the closing, you'll be saving another $600. Now we're up to over $2,200 in discounts right off the top. That's good. So here's the deal. If you or someone you know is active military, veteran, police officer, firefighter, nurse, or a school teacher and looking to buy a new home, choose Shannon Young with Legendary Home Loans. Give them a call today, 844-FSU-LOAN. That's always a good way, 844-FSU-LOAN. That's 844-FSU-LOAN. Or you can visit them, FSUHomeLoans.com, FSUHomeLoans.com. The answer to the trivia question, Tom, we have a winner, I assume. We've got it all done.
It is freaky how fast you people are on the keyboards. Within 10 seconds,
sneaky deaky,
10 seconds of you completing the question in real time, because we're on delay in some mediums.
I remembered this answer. It just strikes me as amazing how fast time goes by. Because when I thought about it, it was one of my guesses, but I couldn't believe we had to reiterate exactly the year. The answer is Amp Lee, and he was a wonderful player. Good old Amp Lee. And, by the way, that happened in 1991. Sweet Jesus. It's a long time ago. I saw where one of my guys voted for my boy William Floyd, who was indeed on that team, but no, it was not.
He had quite a few votes. Poor Sip Nole, old in Mississippi, I suppose, was just, a tenth of a second behind. But AUCE Nole, there you go.
AUCE Nole, you are victorious. $25 to our friends at Garnet and Gold. Do you know that I have failed to go by Garnet and Gold and pick up my gear?
Well, you need to rectify that before we hit the road.
They are dear partners of the Jeff Cameron Show and Warchant.com and the pregame show and all the stuff we do.
Locally owned.
And I need to go by there and pick up some gear. Got to do it.
I got me that
I would do it.
State of Florida cap last week.
So somebody wanted me to wear an FSU cap when I'm doing pregame shows. I'm wearing an FSU cap today, a really sweet one, I might add. Shout out to my friend Trey Jones, golf coach, Florida State. Very cool. But and that's Legacy Golf Course, obviously. But I do need a football one as well. So my wife told me that what is an unreasonable number of hats to own?
Oop, wrong guy to ask.
Okay, so
whatever that number is, I exceed it.
Gentlemen, I'm asking you this question, and maybe there are a few ladies out there that can relate to this. So ever since I went bald, or I made the decision to shave my head because I was balding, right? I'm not pulling a Tom Brady up in here, getting thicker hair as I get older, a lion's mane, absurd as it is, having jawline surgery and withering away to $170 while I tell people that my life is complicated. That's not happening in here.
Right.
I just own it. I just shave the head and move on.
Your cheekbones emerge like you're the Punisher logo.
Ooh. Whole time he was talking, my life is complicated. He looks ridiculous.
You've got to straighten out that backhand.
So ever since that I, did the bald thing, shaved my head, you see, I got hair. I have hair, but if I grow it out, I got this big bald spot up here, so I can't do it. I wasn't going to do that.
Maybe for Halloween.
You
could be Jimbo.
Yeah, I could with the isthmus.
Yeah. Oh, man. If you did a full segment for a Halloween show in Jimbo's voice.
And then I grew this out and had it.
Do you know how viral that would go?
Yeah. But
it would reach his desk.
Jimbo would call me. Yeah.
He would.
Yeah. But he might even laugh.
It was pretty good.
He might even laugh about it. Yeah. Not so bad, Jeff. Noles, did you see it? Did you see it, Noles? Come check it in. You remember, Jeff? So here's the thing. I come to it with you. I'm right here. I did it. Well, ever since that happened, Tom's hair is all that TP12. The alkalinity has kept your hair vibrant.
He's like a chia pet.
So here's my question. I ended up, because it's not good for your skin, and I golf a lot, and I was told by the dermatologist, hey man, get it together. You can start wearing a hat. You're gonna hurt yourself. It's tender up there. You got to wear a cap. Stop. You can't wear a visor, you bald ass. Got to wear a real hat. So then you start collecting hats just because, you want variety. Well, over the years, I've been accrued, Tom, I don't know how many hats, but it's a lot.
I don't feel as bad. I see 30s and 35s in there, which is, I'd say, the ballpark I'm in. There's usually 6 to 8 in heavy rotation at any given time.
You have your Mets one that you wear all the time, and you have a Florida State one that you wear a lot.
Well, I get a new Mets one every year.
Right.
The new fitted one.
Admittedly, I have like 8 Pirates caps. It's too many. I don't need 8. So I don't know. This is where I'm getting to, and then I'm going to move on. I probably have 50 or 60 hats.
Oh, wow. You might exceed my hat count.
And my wife is like getting frustrated. She's like, what the hell with the hats? I mean, because, you'll look over and then, because I'm not great about putting them back.
Yeah.
I put the hat
They're
on
everywhere.
the door. I got a hat up on the kitchen counter. I got the hat on the table, the living room table, over the chair. I got a hat right by the front door where I go out, where we have a coat holder, hanger, and I'll grab a hat. She's like, these are for coats. This is not for a hat.
Oh,
all
right.
Well, but, if you put 4 of them on there, like the next thing you know. So this is what happens.
Then you double up on the one, and then it falls off.
It falls off.
Yeah.
I'll have 3. I've had 3 or 4 stacked on one. She's like, what are we doing here?
It works.
Yeah, it takes up just the one space.
Don't touch it.
So I don't know what is fair. I should probably get rid of like 30.
So when I was younger, little lad, I had a Tampa Bay Lightning bin. It was those trash bins. Remember the tall ones? They look like, tennis ball tubes, just giant versions of them. And that's where I would put all of the hats. It would be stacked that way with the bill facing up so that I could go through it. I just need one of those. I need one of those again because I'm the same way. On the couch, the banister for the staircase, the counter in the kitchen, the key rack. We have a key rack, not a coat rack.
And then you put your hat on it.
The tables.
Banking you too.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah. No. So bottom line is, she's not wrong to say let's move it along with some of these hats, but there's always, a hat that no longer looks good that you love. because it represents a time and a place and a moment. I've got a FSU College World Series hat that I bought in Omaha as I was leaving a restaurant bar with Eric Llewellyn. And we were walking back over to TD Ameritrade. I think, was that the first year? I can't remember.
Rosenblatt?
Well, it was probably it was Rosenblatt. You're right. It was still Rosenblatt. And we were walking back, and this guy it was kind of like a bootleg FSU College World Series hat. It was all white, fitted. It was the first of those.
Wow.
First of those flex
fit.
Yes.
Yeah, it says it in the lining. Flex fit.
Yes.
Sure.
It was the first time I'd ever seen flex fit or something akin to it. And it's just gorgeous. You never see it. It was all white with the FSU baseball logo. It was with the bats like that. It was sweet as it is sweet. I've worn it out. It's beat to hell. It's disgusting. It's disgusting. Sweat stains, and it's ruined. But I cannot get rid of it.
I still have my high school golf hat, and the season is now in high school golf. I mean, it's disgusting.
Yeah.
And whoever embroidered it did so in a cave because it's not even lined up. You've got the 3 C's and the black outline, and the yellow of the C on a red hat extends beyond the outline. I mean, it's terrible. It's disgusting. But I didn't get another one. I only had one. Most everybody got 2 or 3 hats. I only had the one, and it's going on almost 20 years now.
Well, it's been a lot longer than that since we've played LSU. So let's add to the ledger of goodness. If you look at Florida State's all-time record against LSU, it's nice. It's good. It's weighty. I feel great about what's transpired in this rivalry. So maybe it happens. I would someday dare say, and we'll see if Florida State is able to successfully maneuver their way out of this conference in the very near future, I would embrace the hell out of a biannual or, every 4 years, 6 years, whatever it would be, matchup with LSU. They've got good fans. I got no problem with LSU fans. Yep. It's a blast to go to a game there. It's good food, good people, good music, good times. I'd take it to Baton Rouge any given year. I'd be fine with it. As opposed to say like, oh, we get to go play Kentucky this week. You know what I mean? So that would be ideal. That part of it I do. I do allow myself to daydream. All right. I do this with the Big Ten as well. But admittedly, despite having to immerse yourself with the rest of the mouth breathers of the SEC, you would get the opportunity to travel to LSU.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Well, I mean, and think about a town like Auburn, for example. If we had, a situation where we got a road game, you could do the show here, even if we didn't want to do something up there for Friday. You do the show here and still be there for happy hour. I mean, that's unbelievable. That's not a concept we're used to. You'd have to hop on a plane to get somewhere. But if the show was over at 3:15, you'd have to get on a plane to get anywhere in the ACC within a reasonable hour, within a reasonable time frame.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, you're there dead of night at the earliest. But to be able to drive places, come on now.
Oh, well, I mean, going to see FSU Alabama, FSU Auburn, FSU LSU. There's a lot. There's a lot.
Even Arkansas.
Arkansas is away. FSU Georgia, driving up that.
Yeah.
One of my nieces goes.
Could do a Friday
UGA
show
right
in Atlanta and then pop up in the morning.
It'd be great.
Never been to Athens.
You haven't?
No.
Fantastic. One of the very good college towns.
Slowly crossing these things off the list.
Come on, buddy. We got to get you, speed up the timeline with you. We got to get you going there. It's good times. Chef Cameron Show 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Your local news now.
The Florida A&M University Office of Housing released a statement Tuesday evening regarding dislocated students from Palmetto Phase 3 in Polkinghorne Village West. The university states that all Palmetto Phase 3 apartments were treated Saturday in regards to a pest infestation, and staff has been cleaning and assessing since Monday. A walkthrough of these apartments is scheduled for today, and students are expected to return from hotels tomorrow. The students at Polkinghorne Village West were displaced after a fire hazard incident on August 26th. FAMU reports that 128 students were displaced due to water damage that affected the 1st through 4th floors. ServPro is currently drying out these apartments and demolishing any saturated walls. Shuttle transportation, security, and coverage of hotel expenses are being covered for all displaced students. Students are expected to return to Polkinghorne Village by September 3rd. This is Rachel Lene with your Real Talk 93.3 local news update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at MacklemoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Scattered thunderstorms likely this afternoon, otherwise cloudy. High temperatures reach up to 91, southwesterly winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. Scattered thunderstorms likely tonight, lows level off around 74, overcast skies. Scattered thunderstorms again tomorrow, highs level off around 89, sunshine mixed with clouds at times. This report is brought to you by the Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Right now, 94.
Hi, this is Hugh Tomlinson. The Tallahassee Quarterback Club is the exclusive club for all football fans. Join us to enjoy nationally recognized speakers, support local student athletes who play the game we love, win prizes, and enjoy great food and fellowship with membership. See the list of speakers, join the club, or purchase guest tickets at TallahasseeQBClub.com. Membership starting as low as $27 online at TallahasseeQBClub.com. Get in the game, get in the club.
There's fun to be had every night at the Corner Pocket. Take home prizes on Trivia Tuesdays and Beer Bingo Thursdays. And kickstart your weekend with Martini Fridays. Plus, happy hour runs every weekday and game day specials every time the Noles take the field. Watch all the best games at the Corner Pocket's Vegas Wall, featuring 560 inches of flat screen TV heaven.
Oh, really?
The best food, the best drinks, and the best place to watch all the games. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
Here's what you missed on the Greg Tish Show.
Chattanooga, Tennessee. Pastor Tabner was alone with a female church employee. She in a towel and he in his boxers. The charismatic 41-year-old Hurley explained the two of them had been making chili and gotten food on their plates. With the hot dogs that they were making, we are hoping that the pastor used the right condiments.
I think there was at least one hot dog involved.
I don't know what you're talking about. We were just making chili dogs.
The Greg Tish Show, Monday through Friday, 6 to 9 a.m., only on Real Talk 93.3. Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
I'm ready. I'm done talking about it. You know, I feel like we've analyzed it every which way to Sunday. It's a bad thing to say to be a sports talk show. I'm done talking about this game. I don't know what else there is to talk about.
Well, we finally discussed relative quarterback skills today. That was new. We haven't really broached that before today, given that Daniels and Nussmeier are limited at that position. Not exactly Brian Kelly level recruits. That's what LSU fans would say.
Yeah, no, quarterback's not the position you go into in this game for them and say, oh, man, we're at a decided disadvantage. That's nice to be able to say that. We're not in that situation. I think, for us, most of the time, we're going to be talking about the offensive line especially against the good teams, Clemson, Miami, maybe even Florida at the end of the year. Certainly, we mentioned it with NC State and their defensive line, and we'll mention it here with LSU. Those games are the games where the first thing we're going to bring up is the line of scrimmage. Can Florida State, though improved, do enough to give Jordan time to make something happen? Can you establish any sort of running game? Can you create some balance? Can you win first down enough to maybe even run tempo? That'd be interesting to see. Can they run tempo and try to wear these guys down?
I think that's their goal.
I think probably so.
For the season.
Their effort, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's a big if. It's one of the ones that early on you'll be watching because you're nervous. You're nervous about the interior holding up against this group of NFL-bound defensive tackles. It's a tough ask, but you don't have to win the day. You just can't lose it constantly. Just neutralize that a little bit, have that be a standstill. And I think most people would feel pretty good because that opens up a lot of stuff that you want to do. And it gives Jordan time to throw the football against some receivers we think have an opportunity in this game.
Do you feel any better today than you did on Monday? We usually play that game.
I had to, Aswan asked for the staff's picks, and they needed to be in today.
Yeah,
and
because we put them in the report, the
Right.
Warchant report.
So I put my pick in, did it on StreamYard there, and when I sat down to do it, and I had to hit record on the camera, I thought, well, who am I picking? What am I doing? I was about to hit record, I still didn't know who I was picking. And I can tell that I'm still a little bit suspect. I still don't quite believe that they're where they need to be to win a game like this. Wouldn't be shocked if they did, but I put the edge to LSU ever so slightly. And so that's the route I went. I gave the final score like 3 points in favor of LSU.
Just to ask for term definition purposes, a game like this, what do you mean by that? Because LSU isn't exactly going to be running down the West this year. So they have talented players, but they're not exactly what do you think? Do you think they're a top 20 program by the end of the year? Is that where they could be?
I picked them as more of a surprise team in the West.
Okay.
You know, if you look at their win totals projected by Vegas, obviously Vegas noting that it's Brian Kelly's first year, average a quarterback at the very best. You're in the West, coming off a tough season. Yeah, I mean, I think it was 6.5, whatever it might be. I said I thought LSU could be a foil. They could bother some people. They're good enough to beat some people that they're not projected to currently. So I'm just telling you, I think that they're probably a top 25 team by season's end, at least in terms of the talent and the way that they're playing. Again, you may end up having an average-ass record because you do have a difficult schedule if you're them. I mean, by definition, where you are, it's very difficult. But I think they're going to be better than people think. I'm really pleased that we play them this early. Very pleased that we play them this early because I do think that as they get more acclimated to what it is he's running, what he wants to do. Look, at the core of what he does, it's the 4 vert stuff, and that's not going to change. Most of these guys do not radically shift what they believe in, what they do, what their core principles are in terms of running an offense. I remember I've heard a lot of coaches talk about that, but Jimbo did too. I remember he used to say, well, no, these guys, they don't change much, but they just talked a lot about how they may run some things off of that, but they're going to go back to what they do. I think he will too. It's just a matter of how quickly can everybody get up to speed, be on the same page, and they can find a rhythm offensively. If they can, they may not have the quarterback for it.
Right. Well, and they don't love their running backs right now. They've got a couple that can play a little bit, but they don't love what they have.
No, they're not. That's not an elite position group.
So if you're not in love with your quarterback play, such that nobody took the job, you can look at it that way. Is Brian Kelly holding out because he knows and he doesn't want to share, or because 6 of one, half a dozen of the other? Because if that's the case, you're not in love with your starting quarterback. You don't love your running back situation, especially this week. Your offensive line has a brand new left tackle and a brand new center. You like your receivers fine. Tight end should be good, but there's an unproven player in the segment group that should project to be quite a good player. That's a lot of things to be juggling on offense. If you want to,
how quickly does it come together?
Right. If you want to pick it apart the way we would pick apart our own team, that's a lot. In fact, that might be more question marks than we are offering up about our own offense.
I offer up against good defenses. Where is this offensive line at? They're better, but where are they at? I'd offer up that the same situation holds true for our receivers. Better, but just how much better? Not real sure. Jordan, how good is he on passing downs? Obvious passing downs. That was an area last year. I brought up the stats on him, success rate on obvious passing downs, 3rd and longer, 2nd and 10, whatever. He wasn't very good there. Now, in fairness to him, and I brought this up too, how could he be? Who was he throwing to? And this offensive line was terrible.
Who's open?
Right. So very few people were open, and the offensive line didn't provide you a lot of time. When Florida State got into an obvious drop-back pass situation, he was at a distinct disadvantage. He also wasn't great at it. So when he did have a guy, he didn't always hit him. So that's how far along collectively has all of that come when you play the better teams, the more talented teams. I don't know the answer to that. We play the games for a reason. It's okay for us to speculate. There's conjecture before every year. I get all of that. We don't know. That's the debate that everybody has within the fan base.
Yeah, one test is to, he, a lot of times it feels like, is looking for the perfect play to run. Either pre-snap, he'll hold the offensive line for an extra 15 seconds, and you're like, for crying out loud, these guys, even after we snap, they're going to be just kind of frozen. But if he's somebody who was looking for the perfect play or even somebody to come open, and that was in his brain as a habit, and now he has people that actually do get open, so it doesn't have to be a perfect play, you could see the numbers jump leaps and bounds, or your confidence level when he drops back jump leaps and bounds, because he believes that something's going to be there. If you don't believe anything is waiting for you,
he was conditioned after a while to understand nothing was going to be there. I mean, last year he knew there's not going to be a lot here.
But it would be like, okay, I'm really good at rhetoric and I can sell some things, but if I've got to give a 30-minute synopsis of, whatever,
correct,
5 years worth of research, and I've never read the research, I mean, good. Well, the clock's ticking. That's what it must feel like for a quarterback, except you're under physical duress on top of all of that.
So his command of the offense is much better. That was shown in camp, and that by definition means you're going to have an opportunity to be decisive and feel more confident pre-snap, not only about what you're doing and your understanding of it. Like they always say, if you really want to know if you know something, can you teach it? All right, so fine. I think he has a better understanding of if he were on the whiteboard, he could talk to you about this offense in much more definitive terms. I agree with that. It's what you're talking about. Does he believe the other guys?
Yeah, does he believe that Johnny's going to be open on 3rd and 7? And if so,
and that he's going to be where he's supposed to be?
Right. And if so, does he cut it loose? Which it looks like the answer might be yes on the cut it loose part, which is exciting. I believe that more now than I did before the Duquesne game. Because what I saw in the Duquesne game, and I understand the opponent, was a continuation of the better moments I saw in camp. So now I know it's not only in him in practice, it's also potentially in him in a scoreboard situation where the game counts, which is not the same for his backup,
Something you and I have not discussed, and it could be very, very intriguing in this game, is both teams, but in particular Florida State, for whatever reason, we're not talking as much about Florida State's defense, but can they get pressure off the edge? Because we don't know that. There's no way to find that out. The game last week, by game plan, and I might note that it was an intelligent game plan, Duquesne was not going to let their guys sit back there and take an ass kicking, which was smart. He knew they couldn't block him, and he just decided, we're getting the ball out, and we're going home. We're shortening the game. We're letting the play clock run all the way down before we snap it. Let's get the hell out of Dodge. Let's get our check, and let's go home. Good, smart play. When you're grossly outmatched, you should do that. But it didn't give us a chance to really know anything about just how effective in any of our defensive ends would look.
I like this situation because of the inexperience at 2 key positions, which means to me that they're going to commit 3 bodies to Lovett and Cooper in the middle. So this is your best chance.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, against a team like LSU, that offensive line next year is going to be in a far different position unless they have injuries in camp. You got one-on-ones. Go win a couple one-on-ones. Come on. Because they're going to have to devote so much resources to stopping 91-0 up the middle that Briggs and McClendon and Verse should be in one-on-ones.
Think Sam McCall is returning kicks this game? I don't.
Probably not. But, I mean, I also would have a one-strike policy for kickoffs in general in this game. Short of the kid, for some reason, having nerves and it lands in your arms at the 18-yard line. If you mess up once, if we turn a gunner loose one time, that's it. I'm only starting inside my own 20-yard line
how
once.
tired of you at this point?
Yes.
I mean, yes, we all are. It's absurd.
But you get one. I'm going to give you one. And that's the message. John, tell them.
You get one.
They get one.
Yeah, because it's just got to stop. We were talking about this yesterday, and, Ira rightfully pointed out, well, he's a freshman. Well, man, no, this is back on the coaches. I'm not blaming the kid. This is not me blaming Sam McCall, who was tentative and half-stepping. I'm blaming coaches for putting a kid back there and having him, in that situation. Clearly, he wasn't ready. It was overwhelming to him.
Yeah, and even that first one, he's got a guy bearing down on him. It's a Duquesne player. Jesus, guys. Let Sam choose. Against Duquesne, you should be able to choose which path you get to the 30-plus yard line.
You'd like to think, but it hadn't happened, and so that frustrates the hell out of me here. Give yourself a fair opportunity. Take it at the 25, be done with it if you don't have anything. And if there's not somebody that's going to be back there and be more decisive, as in get it and go. It's now. It's put your foot in the ground and go. I mean, listen, I've never wanted to return a punt or a kick for the reason that you might guess. It seems detrimental to your health. That's a difficult task, but there are some people that you see do it and you're like, they were born to do that. These guys love it. I remember watching Tamarick Vanover. You're like, oh, he saw it as a chance to exploit, a chance to showcase, a chance. Dion could do things that, that vision was unreal, almost like a point guard with, otherworldly vision, court vision. Some guys have that, others don't. They see it and they attack it because they're tapping into a skill that they have and a talent that few others do. Others are just asked to do it.
It's very much for a punt returner, kind of like what Dalvin does as a running back, which is
setting
crazy
you
to
up
say.
a little bit,
he's like, all right, I'm going to manipulate you so you all flow this way, and then I'm gone.
Woo! Here we go. All right, let's do some probables here. Let's fire it up.
It's time for, how you say, with the pitching, probables?
Astros, Rangers, 2-1 Texas in the third. Christian Javier, Martin Perez. Pirates beat the Brewers last night. That was stunning. Zach Thompson, Freddie Peralta. That game's tied 0-0 in the third. Padres, Giants, Joe Musgrove, Alex Wood. Orioles, Guardians, Jordan Lyles, Tristan McKenzie. Cardinals, Reds, Jose Quintana. That creep can roll, man. Mike Minor. Rays, Marlins, Drew Rasmussen, TBD. A's, Nats, James Kaplan, Annabelle Sanchez. Cubs, Blue Jays, TBD. Michael White. Dodgers, Mets, Tyler Anderson, and Jacob deGrom. Let's get it on. I'm skipping way ahead. Yanks, Angels, Garrett Cole, Patrick Sandoval, finally Phillies, D-backs, Bailey Falter, Tommy Henry. Good work out of you. Good work, Director Matthew. Thanks to all of you. We'll be back tomorrow on a Redemption Thursday. Peace.